Hello, beautiful souls. It's Julie, and we have an amazing episode of Angels and Awakening today. I have some really big news and a group of women on for you to listen to. We are actually starting an entire online angel wellness center that focuses exclusively on your spiritual wellness and your spiritual health. So, friends, you're going to dive into that episode today and hear from these beautiful women that I have brought on my team to serve you. And you're going to hear some of their angel stories today, how they do what they do, how they've walked through the angel Reiki school and gotten so much validation. But first, I just wanted to let you know we've been on this year-long course right through the Angel membership where we've been diving into one course after another. And what has happened at different times throughout the year is that some courses you're able to get through in 4 weeks. So, how this works is some courses you're able to get through in 4 weeks. But as I went through and have created some courses, we've lengthened them because Spirit has brought in so much information that you can't get through it in 4 weeks. We had to lengthen it to 8. Well, when I started working on ancestral trauma, and really, I hate that term for it, and I don't use the word hate lightly, right? Like, I really dislike the word ancestral trauma because there's so much good that comes from our ancestors. And just focusing on the trauma piece can automatically bring you into this lower vibration. Well, when I've done ancestral trauma work myself in the past, I haven't loved the way that the courses have been set up because in a lot of courses, the way that they're taught, it's very easy to kind of get sucked down into low vibration and focus our attention and our thought attachment on the hurt and the pain of the past. But really, doing ancestral trauma work should really lift us up and out of that, right? Clearing, letting go, releasing, energetically, spiritually healing energy lines from the past that are impacting us today. So, next week, what you're going to dive into on Monday and then Thursday, I'm going to share my own angel story that came out of pulling together all of this work for you is all about ancestral trauma. And what we ended up doing is right now, if you join the angel membership, you start at square one, but we wanted you to be able to start with ancestral trauma if this is something that you want to dive into. When I ended up lining up the course, it's not something that I can work through in 4 weeks or even 8 weeks. It's going to be a 12-week long course that really dives into your ancestry, the energetic ties that are connected with you today. And friends, if you've never spent any time on this, let me tell you, you are living your life, and there are for sure, I am 100% certain, there are areas of your life that you are subconsciously walking through, floating through, and you don't realize how tied they are to past ancestors. So we're going to dive into this a lot next week, but I have five, fun facts about ancestral trauma that I just wanted to bring up before we dive into the show today, because I want you to get excited about this. It's really fun work. And over these 12 weeks, we're going to keep it really high vibrational, a lot of oneness energy as much as we can. And what I was saying before is if you want to dive into this, we're making that possible. So, this 12 weeks, normally each course that we do, each 4 week course is about $311. We're giving you all 12 weeks if you sign up now. So, this is a limited time offer. We're giving all of it to you for $349. So, everybody who's in the Angel membership will have access to be able to take this course. But if you're not in the Angel membership and you're like, Julie, sign me up. I have been wanting to go into this for so long. Now is your chance. So, for limited time, you have access to this live 12-week course that starts September 6th. and you really get to walk through every piece. So here's the 5 fun facts to get you excited. Okay. So, you know how I always talk about nuggets of information from the other side, but how do we get those nuggets of information? Some of the nuggets of information that come from the other side come through your understanding of your family's history, and you don't even realize it. Friend, there are huge, huge parts of who you are, your purpose here, and they're all impacted by your ancestry. And if you haven't put focus on this or attention on this, you're kind of living blindly when you really could stop and see what a huge part this plays. And some of it's very, very positive, right? This is the reason that I don't like the term ancestral trauma too, is it's a very negative word, right? But if we said ancestral energy, right? This is what we're talking about diving into. Number 4 from the facts. You don't have to be of a certain spiritual philosophy or religious background to work with your ancestors. Anyone on this planet can be and really should be working with their ancestors. Number 3, part of ancestral trauma work is clearing and releasing, but some of it's forgiveness. Forgiveness that needs to be done through you to clear and release parts within your path where you're blocking yourself. Parts need to be you forgiving yourself. And as you do this forgiveness work, it really does, it is in and of itself energy healing work that heals the family consciousness. Okay. And that was another one that I had, but I wasn't going to put on today. There's collective consciousness, you have individual consciousness, there is divine feminine consciousness, divine masculine consciousness, but there's also family consciousness, this collective consciousness that is just of your family and your ancestors. And so you can work with that as well. Number 2, your ancestors have unresolved business. And friend, their unfinished business becomes your business. And it's not like this ghosting thing whatsoever, right? But their unfinished business that shows up in your life as work that you're doing for yourself. And they want you to succeed. Your ancestors want you to succeed. Why? Because your success is their success. So they're always part of your spirit team, always helping, but you might not realize what an impact they're really having on your everyday. And this course is going to give you this. And number 1, ancestral trauma experts suggest using meditation and visualization to heal ancestral trauma. They say meditation and visualization can actually heal your DNA, which heals you on a physical level and allows you to change your outlook and really change your life. And that's what I want for you in this course, is to really be able to release energy that's been holding you back from your auric field energy, from your body's energy, from your chakras energy by focusing on it. You have to be aware of it in order to clear it for yourself. And that's what we're going to walk you through over those 12 weeks. And it's not going to be something that's really heavy. We're going to keep this a very airy oneness vibrational frequency as you go through in this very safe space. So 12-week course, you can sign up now. Normally afterwards, this 12-week course will be $933. But if you sign up right now, it's $349, and we've got that special for a limited time. So you can check on the website if it's still up. Friends, I'm so excited to work with you, and I'm so excited for you to dive into the rest of this podcast episode. Today, we have on team members that I have brought onto my team that you can book sessions with. Here you go. Let's dive into the show. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Angels and Awakening podcast. I'm your host, Julie Jancis, and today I am here with not just one guest, but five other guests who are now part of a new program we're starting. If you've listened to this podcast for a while, you know that it's always been my dream to have a lake house, a wellness, like a spiritual wellness center where people can go and tap into the gifts of other healers and just learn and heal spiritually themselves. And what Spirit has been working on with me through the Angel Reiki School, which everybody here has gone through and just, graduated with flying colors. Everybody here has these great, amazing, yummy, delicious spiritual gifts. What Spirit's been working on is this Angel Wellness Center, and we're starting it without the lake house. Spirit is calling this Angel Wellness Center 1.0. And what we're going to turn it into eventually and manifest is that lake house where we can all come together in circle and have you come as well. But this is the beginning, and I'm really, really excited for you to be here. I want to kind of talk about this little program a little bit before we dive in with the other healers and before you get to meet this team and get to know them, because they're going to be here on the podcast. They're going to be sharing stories. What I want you to understand as listeners of this podcast is, first, I'm so, so grateful for everybody who listens. Over the years, the podcast has evolved. So the first year that I was doing the podcast, it was just pretty much reaching out to anybody that Spirit would put in my path, right? And if Spirit placed this person in my path, I felt comfortable having them on the show. As COVID hit, we started to take more so people who were presented through PR. So public relations folks will email nonstop, just all these different people you need to have on the show. And there's been a lot happening over the last year within the world, last year and a half. As I've had different people on, different guests who I felt like we vetted beforehand, I would follow them on Instagram. And there are some people here and there who either during the interview, I would catch stuff that was coming through, or after the interview, I'd be following them on Instagram and see posts and just be like, this really doesn't resonate with my heart. And I'm very, very cautious and protective of the podcast audience, because I know that in this work, there's so much false information out there. And I just don't want myself or my team or my community to be part of that false narrative that's out there. I want to keep this work very, very God centered, in a way that this is all about us being tools God can work through to help as many people here on earth as possible. And whatever that looks like to God is good with me. So this is about your healing as the podcast listener, and about just letting God bring in whatever needs to be. So, what ended up happening and how this kind of manifested is, as I've been praying over the last 6 months, what I've been shown is this Angel Wellness Center 1.0, and really having more of a team who comes to you, who I've worked with, some of you for years on this team. And I know you, I know your heart, I know everybody here on this team is God centered. I know that you don't bring through negative information. I've had a session with every single one of you, and I know that the work that you're doing is just to be a tool that God can serve through and help people that you're working with to the maximum degree possible. So I'm really, really excited to present this team to the audience. and just to give you an outlet to have more healers who are vetted by me, who I know are just outstanding souls, souls that were hand selected by spirit. Because I prayed about this team too, and Spirit wrote down the names of the people who should be here, and they're all here today. There are new people who are going to be joining. This isn't just like a one and done type of thing where this group is set. I do see this team as growing over the years, but it takes a while to get to know people, to get to understand people's hearts. And so, as people go through the Angel Reiki School and the Angel membership, both of those, I'm going to be looking for people who are good for this team because, friends, I get calls probably every week. Sometimes emails come through from people I don't know, from people I do know. Julie, I went to this person or this tarot reader, and not that tarot readers are bad, but I went to this healer and they told me all of this bad stuff was going to happen. Is that true? Is all of this bad stuff coming my way? And the answer is no, right? And to everybody listening, you have so much other stuff to be thinking about, to be worrying about, to be doing, to be enjoying in your life. You don't need to be going to healers out there who are going to present you with negative information. That's giving you icky baggage for you to carry that you don't need in your life. What my team does in the Angel Wellness Center is really present you with information, and you're going to hear everybody has different spiritual gifts. Almost everybody connects with loved ones a little bit. Not everybody has loved ones coming through in every session, but we're going to talk about that. Everybody connects with angels. Everybody has intuitive information coming through, and they keep it 100% positive, God based. And so you don't have to worry when you come to my team, are you going to get a low vibrational session? Because that is what we're all about. We're about providing you with the maximum benefit possible, a God based session where you just have messages coming in from your spirit team and providing you with energy healing. So, as we dive in and you get to know everybody today, what I want you to understand and see is how people's gifts are different. I also want you to just kind of tune in because spirit might be tapping on you and saying, you need to have a session with this person or you need to have a session with that person. It's really all energetic alignment. So if you feel aligned with one person or two people, those are the people that you're supposed to have a session with. And you can hop on over to our website, theangelmedium.com, to learn more about them. So, group, you're all here on Zoom. If anybody wants to see our faces, you can hop on over to YouTube because it's going to be posted there. But welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Julie. Yeah. So I want to dive in. I want to go around because everybody's so unique. I want everybody to kind of get to know one another. I'm going to start with Kara. Kara, you are in the States right now. Tomorrow you're going to be moving back on over to Germany. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Okay, yes. So I've been living overseas. This will be the 18th year that I've been going back and forth between America and overseas. I have 3 kids. My husband plays basketball, which is why we're overseas. And yeah, I'm loving working with you and getting to know you and kind of just fell into the Angel Reiki school.
Yeah. Wasn't it that like you heard the podcast and then Spirit was like, you're supposed to do this?
Yeah,
A
it
couple
was.
weeks later, you like
Yeah.
asked her.
Yeah, it was literally the second. I don't even know how I found your podcast. I think I was just scrolling through. Um, your podcast came up and I was like, huh, this looks interesting. So I listened, and the second episode I ever heard, you talked about the Angel Reiki school. And I just immediately knew, like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this. But I didn't know anything about you. So I didn't have like, like any expectations or anything. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then it was crazy because I sent you an email and the next school was starting that next day. And at the same time, I got a check in the mail for the exact amount for the Angel Reiki school.
That's incredible. That's an angel story right there.
Seriously.
Wow. So you went through the Angel Reiki school. You've been working with clients since then. Talk to people a little bit about what your spiritual gifts are, what your sessions are like.
Okay. So first, I want to start by saying that the universe, spirit, source, God, insert whatever name you're comfortable with here, I believe is always conspiring in your favor, right? It's always for us. Doesn't mean it's always pleasant, but it's ultimately always for us. The saying, the universe is for our growth, not for our comfort. So we all came for a specific reason, purpose, and we were given gifts to help us fulfill that purpose, right? And I'm really passionate about helping people recognize and realize that you're perfect exactly how you are. Like you are exactly who you're meant to be, right? That's how you were born. And you were born with certain qualities and for a reason. And actually, those qualities are vital in helping you serve your purpose here. And so often people judge themselves and shame themselves and strive to be different. And instead, I want to actually celebrate you and I want to give you permission to celebrate who you are at your core, your true essence, so that you know that you are exactly who you're supposed to be
Yeah.
and that you are exactly where you're supposed to be at this time in your life. Because, like I said, the universe is always conspiring in your favor. So, my mission is really to help you reconnect with your true essence and remember who you are at your core. And I do this by bringing through loving, healing messages from your spirit team and your loved ones. And I do this for your listeners that are in the angel membership. They already are a little bit familiar with automatic writing, but through meditation and automatic writing is really how spirit works with me. And I always trust that spirit brings through exactly what my client needs to hear at that particular time in their life. And sometimes that comes from loved ones, sometimes through angels or guides, sometimes from the client's higher self. Sometimes I don't know who it comes from, but I always trust that the message is accurate and loving. And that's what's most important.
Oh, I love that so much. So as you go through the Angel Reiki school, you don't come in, and I can't tell you specifically in a session, here's all of your spiritual gifts. Sometimes in a session, spirit will come in and say, okay, here's some of your, spiritual gifts. But when you really go through the program, it all unfolds for you where you get to see it. And that we don't just have one spiritual gift, we have a lot and we can mishmash them together. It's interesting, Kara, because you and I have had so many sessions, and just talks over the last 6 months. But I haven't seen this until like right here, right now, when you were talking. But you're also tapping into people's life plans. Do you realize that too? So I feel like you're also doing like a lot of Akashic record work to
Yeah.
of tapping into people's life plans and paths because they just put you there in the Akashic records and they have you like surrounded by all of these books, like all these life plans of people that you're opening up when you're going through sessions with them. So I think it's important for the audience to understand that too, so that they know. I love, love, love this. Tell people when you're doing your session, people structure their sessions differently. So what
Mhm.
does your session look like?
Okay. So before the session, I will meditate on your name. And that is really where the automatic writing is so incredible. And I will literally, it will be like your loved ones or your spirit team is talking directly to you. And I'm just writing down exactly what they're saying. So it's like a direct message to you. Sometimes I'll get visions. Sometimes I'll get, moments of validation just so you know who you're talking to. But mostly it's just me writing down exactly what they want to say to you. And then when we start our session, we'll start the session with a meditation to get you in a high vibration. And then I like to go through and do Reiki because I do get different information in Reiki, lots of information coming through about what you're going through in your personal life, day-to-day stuff that might be weighing heavy on your heart, stuff like that. And so then we'll go through a Reiki session and then we'll talk about the Reiki. So what came up for me, what came up for the client. And then after that, I'll share the messages and we'll just kind of go through and talk about the messages that came and the healing that's coming. And so far, who I've really worked with are people who, for whatever reason, feel like there's something wrong with them and don't recognize how amazing they truly are. And so they're almost the gifts that they were given, they're almost seen as a bad thing and they're not using them to the full ability. And because they don't recognize their worth and the worth in those gifts, and that, like, no, you were actually born to be this exact person. And that is your superpower.
Yeah. Well, and I don't want people to like listen right now and think like it's all just generic information though. What you brought through for me was so specific though to my purpose. And it wasn't just once, it was like 3 different times where you would email in and you were like, Julie, I really think that you need to be focusing on this. And then you emailed it again and you're like, I was praying and you came in meditation and you need to be focusing on this. And so I don't want people to think that they jump into your session and it's just, okay, your spirit team thinks that you're amazing, and they love you so much and you're perfect. It's very detailed. It's
Very
very
detailed.
specific. And, one of my friends who's a healer, she always tells her clients the best session is when you go into somebody and they're telling you very specific information that's actually been something that's coming up for you within your subconscious, where it hasn't been like maybe a thought that you've been dwelling on, but it's been whispered to you and it's been whispered to you before. And you're like, oh, okay, I need to clear this other stuff that I've been focusing on because this is what spirit wants me to go, like in the direction of. So, yay, Kara, I'm so excited for you. We're all praying for your move and just like everything, you all being just filled with joy in this new place in Germany. And so, when you do your sessions with people, are you going to have different times that are available?
Yeah, so that's the thing. So if you're in Europe, it would be late afternoon, evening availability. And then if you're in America, it's the beauty of Zoom,
Yeah.
it would be more of a morning session. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's another thing that we should cover too for everyone listening. All of the sessions with everybody in the Angel Wellness Center team are all Zoom, or if you wanted to do phone call, you could, but Zoom is going to be the method that we all use. It's just pretty easy. We're all used to that now. Thank you for being here, Kara.
thank you, Julie.
Oh, of course. Of course. Let's see. I want to hop on over. Karen.
Hi, Julie.
Hello. How are you?
Good. Thank you.
Good, 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 good. I'm so excited for the like listeners to get to hear everybody's different gifts because this team has such different varying gifts. Karen, talk to us about your background, who you are as a healer, and we'll start there.
Yeah, thank you. I am a wife and a mom of 5 kids, and they're young. Ages right now, 13 to 4. So it's a busy household, a busy life. I am also a medical speech pathologist and a holistic health coach, and now a Reiki healer as well. And I came into my gifts later in life, in my late 30s. And I just had my awakening. It actually came through reading the book series Conversations with God, that it just kept popping up. And I kept hearing about it and seeing it. And I read the book and I discovered that we all have a direct connection with God. Direct. I've always prayed. I've always, put out towards God, but I never knew that God would come directly towards me. And I had experiences in the past where I thought I would hear from God, but I never was taught that we can talk to God and God talks to us. And so through this deep dive into spirituality, I came across Julie's podcast and I had to have a session with her. I signed up for a session. And immediately after that session, I said, I know I'm supposed to do her Angel Reiki school. I know it. And so I signed up and I went through the school and it just changed my world, my whole entire perspective. I just the doors of spirituality have opened for me. Things that I've questioned before that never made sense, that I just, it feels like I'm finally home. I feel like I was blind for so many years. For 30 something years, I was just walking around blind. And now I feel like I've awakened and I can see things that I never knew before. And I know that there's so much more to spirituality than I had ever known before, that I had ever been taught. So it's been an incredible journey.
Yay, that's so exciting. So you really, when you dive into sessions, I think what's so fascinating about the work is, and this started happening right when you got into the Angel Reiki school and you started working on your volunteers, which we provide for you. Archangel Raphael was there in every single one of them. And what I talk about in the book is that Archangel Raphael provides a team of wellness angels for every human being who really focus on your physical health and your physical wellness and how it ties in with the spiritual body, the mental body, the emotional body. When you do your work, I know that sometimes people come to you for all different types of reasons, and you're there for them, whatever it is that they need. But Archangel Raphael comes through with information in every single one of your sessions, right?
Yes. Yeah. Archangel Raphael is it's definitely on my team. When I go into a session, many angels come in, but Raphael is right there. And he focuses on health and wellness. He guides me to where to go. And his team just swoops in and he has all these angels with him and they just divide and conquer. And it's amazing. They can get the work done and it's incredible. So he's like my medical wellness angel that just comes in and stands with me and then goes to work and kind of directs the traffic of, you go here, you go to the head, I'll go to the feet. And then we'll hone in on specific areas and he'll help guide me of where we need to go, what we need to work on. And also in the beginning of the session, I will ask my clients, is there anything specific that you want me to work on? And it doesn't necessarily have to be medical, but it can be, emotional or, the whole body, mind, body, and spirit, and then guiding through the blockages and wherever I'm guided.
I love that. I love that. And it's not just Archangel Raphael, though, that you work with. I know that for you, loved ones come in a majority of your sessions, like I'd say about 80%, right? And you're
Yes.
working with angels, other angels too, in every single session. So everybody here holds this intense, high vibrational frequency that you can feel very palpably during your sessions. And then you have intuitive information coming through from those angels and loved ones. Talk to people about how the flow of your session goes. So, what does that look like for your 55-minute session?
My sessions are actually very similar to Erica's. Or not, not Erica, I'm sorry, Kara, sorry. Where I do the automatic writing beforehand and I get messages. I get messages from spirit or angels, just like a quick blurb of just kind of giving me, you know, an idea of what's going on, what we can focus on, some messages for healing. And then we go into the session and I do a meditation, bring them into high vibe. And then we go through a Reiki session. And during the session, it's, we'll talk a little bit, but it's mostly quiet. And it just allows the client to just have a sense of peace, a sense of calm. And it just oftentimes, most of the time, my client tells me that just a wave of just peaceful energy just comes over them as I'm working. And, we'll chat a little bit here and there, but I let them just have that time just to be connected, for them to stay in that high vibe and just feel it for a really good time. And then after, when I'm done, then we'll talk. We'll talk about the messages that came through and we'll focus on some specific goals. It's whether it's a health or wellness goal or a spiritual goal. And we'll just focus in on some action steps or just some guidance, some like gentle guidance in a way that we've been directed through validation that we've received during the session. So we'll just kind of have a dialogue. We'll talk about it, work through any questions that they may have. But in the end, all the time, it's just the overwhelming feedback I get is that if they were having some anxiety or if they were having some worry, if there was an issue that they were dealing with, they were able to release that and be able to take that into their everyday life with a new set of eyes, a new set of just a way of looking at things. And just in a healing sense of just more of a calmness and grace and ease to go about their lives with a new perspective.
Oh, I love that. Well, and I want to make it clear for everybody too. If people have diseases or different things that they're working on, or just want to know more about their medical situation, they need to go to a doctor first and foremost. Your doctor, your professional medical, like mental health professionals, are always the people that you go to first. What spirit shows me is that this work is in conjunction with that. So it's not that we just have to do one. We can go to our medical doctors, therapists, counselors, and also talk to them about including holistic therapies like this as a part of their wellness routine. And so, definitely, if you have any concerns, doctor first. But then, what spirit also shows me is that sometimes it's the messages themselves that go into where we're storing stuff in the physical body. And it's the messages that are able to break that energy up at its core and help us release. So that's really the work, the spiritual work that Karen, I see you doing. And it's phenomenal. I love working with you myself. And I love your sessions, and just what you bring through is amazing. So I'm so excited to have you on the team.
Thank you, Julie.
Yeah. Let's see. Adria.
Hey, hi, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
So actually, I have to give Adria credit because I kind of feel like this whole program started with you, Adria. You and I had some like side phone calls and sessions. I think it was the sessions that you booked while you were going through the Angel Reiki school to kind of go deeper. And this all started to come about. And you were saying, I see us working together. And I'm like, yeah, I see that too. What is that? And I need people to know who are listening that when you are working with spirit, they're not always showing you like a book, right? Sitting down and saying, okay, so here's the deal. You and Adria are going to work together, and you're going to have this whole team, and it's going to come together like this. And here's how long it's going to take. And here's the steps you gotta take in the process. It's kind of this co-creation dance that happens with spirit, where they bring in information and ask you to take action on a piece. You take action on it. They give you another piece. You take action on that. And it keeps going deeper and evolving as you continue with your free will to say, yes, like I'm ready to show up in this way. So, Adria, I'm excited for people to get to know you because you're completely different. You came on the scene with the Angel Reiki School, and you're like, I know I'm supposed to be doing this in conjunction with my astrology work. And I'm like, yes, heck yes. Like, this is amazing. I have worked with different people in the astrology sector before, and very purposely, I have not brought anybody on the podcast to date because of the way that information was presented to me in past sessions with these other folks that I worked with. So when I have gone into sessions for astrology and just like book sessions myself with different people, the information can come through a little negative, a little doom and gloom, like, okay, you're kind of stuck in this way of being because of your birth chart and there's no hope. And I'm like, what did I just get myself into? What did I just pay for? So your entire methodology on this is completely different. You are God-centered, God-based. You bring through positive information. And in fact, you really show people how their chart isn't like a death sentence or like you're stuck in this mold that you can't break free from, that it's really more of a guiding path that you can learn from. And the more that you really understand it and get to know it, you can actually work through your lessons in a more meaningful way. You're going to describe this so much better. Tell everybody about what it is that you do and kind of like give some background information about yourself.
No, you did a really good job. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, honestly, at its best, astrology empowers and it helps us to live at our highest potential. And that's really what it's all about. So, and I don't know, do you want me to talk background? Do you want me to focus on the astrology piece? What?
Yeah, tell
Yeah.
people kind of like what your gifts are when it comes to the sessions because you have this beautiful way of incorporating your intuition and what you learned in the Angel Reiki school with it. So I know in our session, where at first I was like, should I record this for the podcast? And Adrian's like, we're going to dive really deep here. I don't think that you really want to do that. And so I was like, I don't have anything to hide, but there was a lot in there. And I think we ended up talking,
Yeah.
you and I, for like about an hour and a half. But you do work beforehand too to get to understand somebody's chart.
Absolutely. So for me, there's a lot of work that does go into an astrology reading, right? So we get the birth information and we look at and it's a map. It's actually just a beautiful map of what the sky looked like at the very moment when you were born, right? And it takes in all of these different sort of characters, if you want to call it, and different energies that happen. And it embodies them in who we are. And you can see all of that in a birth chart, but that's only an outline. That's just the map. That's just a start. It's kind of like factory settings, right? So what people have done with their life and where they go with it is completely unique to that individual person. But for a reading, so I take that information and I just really look at, what does the chart say? What is the chart telling me? What are the different energies here, right? And then intuitively, working with you has helped so much because I really started hearing and connecting with spirit when I was a young girl. So for me, my awakening didn't happen, just recently. It's something that I've been connected with really my whole life, but I never had any instruction on how to use it or what to do with it or how to really enhance those skills. So connecting that with the work of astrology and bringing intuition in, it's almost like you look at the chart and things pop out and you see, okay, this is something that I need to bring forward, or oh, you just kind of tie things in together. And it's just amazing because when I then have that person in the session and I just start asking questions, and it's usually like, oh, well, I guess I never thought about that, but yeah, and sometimes they're just truths that were there, and they're things that it's a combination, I guess is what I'm trying to say, between astrology itself and then just really what does spirit want to bring into this session, and what will help this person really uncover or learn or be the highest potential and the best version of themselves. Yeah.
That's amazing. So I was in meditation years ago, and spirit was showing me all of these swirls of energy. And that when we're born in as souls into this life, we have all of these different swirls, and they're each a different system of energy that we're all kind of encapsulating, right? One of them is our astrological system. One of them is like our birth parents. One of them's our DNA. There's all of these different systems that we're born into. What I find really interesting is that astrology has been always something that I've resonated with. I have been able to, not all the time, like I don't pick up, and read my horoscope every month or every day, but spirit will tell me as a sign when I need to go read something.
Mhm.
And so I know that this sounds crazy, but like the month before I met my husband, my horoscope said, you will meet the love of your life like next month. And it happened. And then there was something about having a baby or like having, baby energy come in the month before I got pregnant. And I've seen so many validations where spirit is talking to me and kind of sending messages to me almost in the same energetic way to break free of my own limiting beliefs. Oh, he's never going to come into my life, or she's never going to come in, like that romantic partner is never going to come in, or I'm never going to get pregnant, those fears that go through your head. Sometimes I see astrology come through and help you break those limiting beliefs in order to set you on your path. Do you see that too?
Absolutely. 110%. Yes. And I
Right.
could tell you as an astrologer who those planets are, and you can see those things happening in charts and how it affects people in times in their lives. Or it's always different. But yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yay.
Well, and spirit will say too, because they're kind of taking me back to those readings where they were kind of doom and gloom that I had way long ago before I even met you. And what spirit has me tell people in the Angel Reiki school is that they're always bringing something up, not to go into the negative, but to circle around to some positive message, right? And that's what I love, Adria, about you, about your readings, is that that's what you do too. So there's things in my chart where they've scared me in the past, and they've made me feel like, well, this part of my life I'm always going to struggle with. And coming to you was just such a blessing because you were able to show me where that's not true whatsoever, that I'm able to break through in those areas. And just having the awareness of it changes the way that you live your life and you interact with that energy daily. It makes it so that there's more ease, there's more love, there's just more flow. And so I'm so excited for people to get to work with you. I wanted to say one more thing, and you and I haven't talked about this, so I promise I'm not going to scare you here. Are you going to work with kids? And I ask you this because there's this huge trend going on right now on TikTok where if you have a child who is probably more so females, between the ages of like 9 and 18. They're kind of all on TikTok right now talking about astrology, and none of them know what they're talking about whatsoever. And what's happening is my kid came to me and she said, did you know that this type, like I was born into this month, and because I'm this, that I'm just this temperament. And I go, oh, no, no, we're not going there. We're not doing that. You don't get to, bypass doing your work because you just feel like that your sign allows you to skate by and just have this rough personality. Like we're not doing
So
that.
funny.
So if there's parents out there listening, this is happening. If you go home and ask your kid if they know what their sign is, talk to them a little bit about this because they're almost using it right now as a crutch to say, well, so what? This is just who I am, and not do their work. And I actually think it could be beneficial if other parents out there are having this lesson that they're working through right now, maybe the parent and the child to be able to come to you and say, talk to us about it, right? Like, we want to learn more.
Absolutely. Yeah, I never really thought about working with young children, certainly with parents. And one of the things I really wish, and part of why I'm doing this, is I wish someone would have told me 25 years ago how to work with children that were in different signs, because we see things from our perspective, right? We approach the world from who we are and how we're wired. But as parents, if you can understand how your children are different, wow, it makes a huge difference. But yes, it's a lot more than just the sun sign. And there are no excuses. We were all created to be exactly who we are, but we do have responsibilities. And there are a lot of other things in our chart, not just our sun sign, that really matter.
Yeah. Okay, so Adria is somebody who's going to be coming on the podcast periodically throughout the year to talk about forecasts. We're going to do one forecast of what's coming up astrologically, energetically between, this fall and the end of the year. You're going to see that podcast episode air in September, so be looking out for that. But if you have questions about astrology, I would love to know what those are because we'd love to have Adria come on and talk about those things too. I think that that could be really helpful. Maybe we'll even do an episode between you and my daughter if you'd be willing.
I would love to. Absolutely,
We'll
Julia.
talk to children about their TikTok videos and what is correct and what is
Yes.
incorrect.
Yes. No. Yeah, because you're right. There's a lot of bad information out there. So
Awesome. Thank you, Adria.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Here. Awesome. Okay. And you know what, Adria, tell everybody where, if you don't mind, if you're okay with that, where are you at in the world?
Well, I live in Minnesota. I live in St. Paul, Minnesota. Yes.
Perfect. And Karen, what about you?
I'm in Maryland.
Okay, perfect. So we're all over the US here and Europe now. And next we're going to talk to Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, Julie. How are you?
Good. How about you?
I'm good, thank you.
Tell everybody where you are in the US.
I am in Maine, on the coast of Maine.
I want to come visit you one day.
Oh, and you're welcome. We have a cottage here set up for people to come visit.
Yay. So I want to just kind of have you talk to people about what your gifts are. And then we're going to kind of go into that and talk a little bit more too.
So I've been doing this for probably over 20 years. I've been doing energy work and readings and just, intuitive work for a number of years and just really enjoyed it. Loved connecting with people, loved helping them with their energy, loved connecting them with their loved ones, answering questions, just helping them, guiding them. And then probably in 2018, is this okay to talk about, Julie?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I should tell everybody too, Cheryl's been on the show together. Cheryl's been a person that I've worked with for years. And we have just like Spirit has just grown our relationship and our bond closer and closer. And I'm excited for people to get to know you. But I'm sure that they don't like remember because there's so many different stories that we have on. So please, yeah, dive in.
So in late 2018, my mom passed away and I was an only child. And so I was, responsible for taking care of everything and dealing with all of that. And so that happened and everything. And I went through all the processes and everything. But then in June of 2019, my daughter passed away. That one was unexpected. My mom died of renal failure. My daughter was completely, it took the rug out from underneath me. So that one was hard for me to handle. I just didn't know what to do. And so I found Julie's podcast, used to listen to it daily or as often that it was on. And I remember sometime around Thanksgiving, reaching out to Julie and going, we're going into the holiday season. How do I cope? This is what's going on. She immediately got back to me and, we set up a time for us to do the podcast. Never really gave it much thought of what date it fell on, but it just happened to fall on February 8th, not even thinking at the date of the recording, that is. And I had said that we were having a birthday party for my son. And you said, Kim's going to be there. And sure enough, later on that night when we had the little birthday gathering, she was there. We saw orbs everywhere and everything and just felt her presence. And I've always felt her presence. So feeling through that grief and everything, I couldn't feel my gifts anymore. And I wanted to get back to that so much because I just loved connecting with people. It was like a spiritual high when I would connect with people and connect them with their loved ones or everything. And I didn't have that any longer. I just felt like I couldn't connect. I could feel Kim around, but you know, not a lot. And not that I was just only looking for her either. It's just I couldn't connect with anything. You mentioned your angel membership course coming up. And I thought, oh, I think this is what I need. So started that. And all of a sudden, I could start to feel my engines were starting to fire again. And then all of a sudden, I just got this push from spirit to say, you need to do Angel Reiki. You need to go do that course. And I was like, I don't know. Maybe I'll do it the next month. And it was like, no, spirit was like, no, no, you got to do it now. So I hopped on and I did it. Oh my gosh, it was over the moon, life changing. It opened me back up, but it opened me up to a different level. I thought I was pretty, I thought I was good already. This took it to a whole nother level. I just the connection, the connection with oneness, the high vibration. I just I was able to bring together angel Reiki and readings and everything, and it just felt right and it felt good. And I chuckle about this, but I remember saying to my husband, I'm back. Everything's back. I'm finally feeling balance. And I could feel all my angels and all my loved ones around me going, welcome back. We knew you'd come back. We knew you were going to be here. And and that's where I've been. And I'm like up here now, feeling the oneness with everything and just enjoy doing the readings and the healing energy with everyone.
That's amazing, Cheryl. I'm so excited for you. And I'm just so excited, like, for you to be back. And because who you are now versus when you and I first connected are two totally different people. Not that one is bad, or it was just that you were really in the midst of grief. And I feel like you do have your joy back, and that you are really this beacon of hope for everybody here. And that's really why I feel like, not just because of this, you're so incredibly talented, but I feel like spirit pulled you onto this team too, because there are so many people who are in the midst of that grief. And Cheryl will bring through loved ones in some sessions, angels in every session. You do your session a little bit differently, where you kind of focus more on the energy healing.
Mhm.
And then, like, the last about 20 minutes, you dive into the messages, and you'll ask people at the beginning a little bit about what might be going on with them so that you can go a little bit deeper. But there's always these very profound messages that come through in the last 20 minutes of your sessions. What spirit was talking to me about, and then we had a conversation on it, was that people come to healers for different reasons, right? And we as healers have to be flexible to be able to work with people for those various reasons. And whenever I say healer, I mean spiritual healer, right? I'm not talking about like us having like these magical powers or anything. Everybody has God-given gifts. It's just that all of us have spent the time and energy to really get to develop them. Cheryl, though, what Spirit keeps saying is that there's people who are going to want to come to see you, who want to understand grief and how to work through the grief process. Not that you're a grief counselor. I know that you don't have training in that, but just the energy of it and talking about your experience. So I want everybody to understand that Cheryl is just this amazing, profound impact she has as a spiritual healer. You can go to her because you just resonate with her energy. You can also go to her if you feel like you have gone through grief and you want to understand it better and you want to talk to her. I know that Cheryl will be able to share what spirit brings through for you in that session for you. Cheryl, talk to people kind of about the flow of your session and how you see it going, because it's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. As the others had mentioned, I also will meditate prior to the session and call in all of the angels and the loved ones and everything. And I'll ask, are there any special messages that I need to know about? And I usually will write them all down. And so then when I get on with the client, we will start off, we'll just chat for a few minutes. And then again, we'll start with a guided meditation where I will bring in all of their angels, their loved ones, and we'll go through the little meditation. I'll take you to the beach, and then we'll do a little grounding ceremony. And then I will start doing the healing. And as I'm doing the healing, and I tell them that I usually am silent while I'm doing the healing because I'm gathering the messages and I'm writing down as I'm gathering them throughout. And then at the end, I'll go back to the beach with you and bring you back. And then we'll start the review of the messages I've received and going over everything that happened and answer any questions that they may have.
Yeah. So I've talked before on this show about how I trade sessions with some people locally who I met very early on when I was doing this work, and that I'm very picky about who I let work with my energy. What I've told people before is that you can feel too a person who holds a very high vibration, and I gotta say, you, Cheryl, and Erica, not that everybody else does it. Kara, I feel like, is focused on like, a person's life plan and really opening up a person to who they truly are. Andrea is really focused on this astrology piece, which is incredible, and bringing in intuition around that. Karen has this amazing ability to bring through intuitive messages and really connect it with the physical wellness of the body and Archangel Raphael and connect the spirituality piece and all of that. Cheryl and Erica both have this incredible ability to work with energy, like as an energy healer as well. And both of you, I know, bring through messages too. I gotta say, you can feel almost sometimes when you're in a session, this portal open, right? Just like above your crown chakra, and just this intensity of the highest vibration you've ever felt. And what spirit does is use that not just to work through and lift your vibration within your auric field, your body, your chakras, but also to really tune your energy. Where, like, when I left your session and Erica's session, and everybody really has this, we just all have like different gifts. You could feel it for like 2 weeks afterwards that you were holding that vibrational frequency to an even higher degree, right? So I want people to understand that that is really the gift of energy work, and that Cheryl and Erica both have that, which is incredible. I love it. And everybody else too has that. It's just everybody has like different gifts, and you feel it, you can see it, and we can have our earthbound spirit team, right? And that's what this Angel Wellness Center is about being able to have different people that you can go to, because we need different people at different times of our lives. And so I want people to understand that your messages, though, are also spot on too, Cheryl. I loved going through my session with you. And then there are some healers who do that, where they have like 40 minutes of that energy healing piece, and they have 15 to 20 minutes at the end where they can bring through very specific information that's just so on point. I love how your sessions work.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. I love working with them.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. So, Cheryl, is there anything else coming through that you want to share?
Just that I'm looking forward to doing this with everyone. And when you were talking about the energy staying with you for a couple of weeks later, it reminded me of this client that I worked with earlier this summer who talked about how her heart was so closed. And she came up to me about a week later And she said, my heart is open. And it has been wide open and hasn't been this open in years. And she was just like, thank you so very much. And I think that is also a high is getting the validation. When I connect and can get that validation, I get super excited. And you might hear me kind of go, yes, cheering and bouncing a little because just I get excited. I get excited with seeing you get excited, seeing you get that connection and that validation yourself.
Yeah.
So I just,
So true.
yeah,
So a good point. And like when anybody has sessions, if you want to relay that information and say, oh my goodness, your team did such a great job, we will share that feedback. So if you want to email the office after a session and you see that validation come through in your life, we love to share that with the team. Thank you, Cheryl. I'm so excited to have you here as part of it.
you.
Yay. Erica. Okay. Can you hear me now? Yes, oh, thank God. Okay. God. Oh, I love your shirt says love. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Oh, perfect. So, Erica, you are in California. You have a background where your grandmother was very mystical. She brought you into mysticism in a way and really taught you a lot early on. And so I want you to talk to people about that because you and I are, another team. We worked together for years. Yes. Yeah. And I've known you over the years and you've gotten to like come back into yourself. You were going through a lot with that. And I feel like all of those layers are gone. You worked through all of them and you've really just been basking in this oneness energy. I feel it every time I'm around you. It just radiates out from you. Thank you. And really living your joy. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself, whatever it is that you feel comfortable sharing. Oh, sure. About your gifts. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for everything. I have to credit everything that had happened in the last years truly to you because I did grow up in this life. So I always would know about or look for the latest spiritual, stuff. And I found you on your third podcast, I think, and listened to every single one after. So you really taught me. First, I had a session with you, and then I think I've taken every class. And then I did the Angel Reiki school. So I'm just like Team Julie, whatever she has, I'll do. And part of the Angel Reiki program that just helped. You're under your teaching, it like brought everything together that I've kind of had my whole life, but I didn't really know, like a set format. So, the Angel Reiki school just taught me how to open up just everything into one place is all I can explain. So I want to thank you, actually. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, yeah. Yay. So when you get into your sessions, I know that you're very intuitive and you talk really throughout your entire session. And I love it though, because when you're talking and you have a meditation that you created, which if you're willing to share, I'm going to have you share on this podcast because I use the same meditation over and over again because I haven't found other ones that bring me to that degree of oneness. And then you walked me through this one that you channeled from spirit. And it's incredible. It knocked me off my feet because it was just the highest degree of oneness. And then you go through and right after that, you really dive deep into messages and talking and then at the end asking people if they've got questions for you and kind of closing out with some more energy to really keep people in that opened vibration. It's just such a beautiful flow that you have to your session. Talk to people about how you see your spiritual gifts. Do loved ones come through in every session? I know angels come through in every session. Talk to us a little bit about that. Thank you. I kind of like to say that I'm almost like the magic and mysticism of life, like nature, animals, young children, and people who are just, no, I don't want to say the underdogs, but just like, as a young child, I was an empath, I am. So I would be drawn to people who maybe, you know, weren't hurt as much or, going through stuff. And I think that I was able to see from a young age, I don't want to say, clear auras, but just around animals, people, children. And I was very sensitive to that. Almost I would envision like Snow White, like the animals and the kids and, the forest animals. So I think that my spiritual gift as an, first being empath, second being an intuitive is to be able to know that sometimes, life is hard and we all go through things. So it's not to be Pollyanna-ish, but to just kind of remind people of the joy and magic that really is there every day. But we forget to look for that or see that because we're so bogged down with, the day to day. So I try to connect. I work a lot with anything of yours. So crystals, I've been drawn to them since I was little. So I always have crystals around me, and I'm very into the chakras and reading people's energy and kind of going where spirit tells me to go. So before a session, I also will do a quick meditation and get like an imprint on the person's name and, not too long, just like some messages that spirit wants to bring up. And then when I meet somebody, I just quickly ask them if there's anything, that they want me to be aware that day that, whether it's physical, emotional, then I take them through the meditation. Thank you for that. I just try to get you through nature just in a very relaxed state where your heart is open and you're ready to and just receive, and it's always for the positive. So my messages are always healing and positive. I don't deal anything with any kind of lower vibration or negativity. I was taught to not, since young age, I don't go there. I love it because you are so hysterical too. And Jen, that you'll send me stuff all the time, this message, and you'll send me like all of these hysterical like GIFs or like spiritual posts, and it just brightens my day all of the time. And I think that because you've kind of been around this since birth and had family members talking to you about it, which was such a gift in and of itself.
Yes.
What I was saying, Erica, is that because you had like this background from so young, you really have this different perspective where you're so God based and positive based, and yet you can see and combine different parts of spirituality that sometimes like I don't always love all like the new age stuff or I get fearful of it, right? Because I have that very religious background. But you're like, no, yeah, see it from this perspective. No, like see it from this perspective. Oh, and in your session too, I loved you have this wooden board that you said that you got on Etsy. And yeah, I can like show it. I don't know if you got it around you. So it's like this board and it's got this person on it with this energy just coming out of them. And it has like the chakra points also on this board. So then you have corresponding crystals, and in your session, you'll take the crystal and you'll work with the energy, and it's really a way, the board isn't anything else except for a way for you to really even more so grasp into a person's energy, to clear it, to help bring flow, to help bring oneness energy and love energy in. But you have this method where it's just very, very palpable. Like you could jar it, the energy that you feel. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I think I mentioned to you, but I like to work with like the divine feminine. That really to me means like everyone has two sides, divine masculine and feminine. And the feminine side is all about nurturing, intuition, and grace, and just kind of looking at things from a more not like not like aggressive, just looking at things from a more peaceful perspective, like to try to talk and talk through. And that's always worked for me. I connect to that kind of feminine energy, and I think it's very helpful when people come to you with either grief or divorce trauma, which I had. And honestly, that is what helped me through because I wasn't raised with formal religion. I was always raised in this realm. So that was my healing journey, actually, for me. Yeah. And then I became a certified Reiki practitioner, just traditional Usui Reiki. And then when I, you know, met and, started listening to you, and then I just knew that I had to do the angel Reiki because it's just tied in everything I had known. That's all I could keep saying, it was everything in one program. It was like, I have to do this. I'll find a way because it's everything that I just knew. So again, I have to thank you for that. Well, I love it because you bring in stuff from all of the different things that you've learned all of your life. And you'll be like, Julie, like, what about this? And in your session, like, it's almost like you've taken things and it's just the way it's supposed to be. You've just taken things and melded them in together into like just this beautiful format. So it was in our session where you're like, okay, so the left side is where a lot is flowing in and blessings are flowing in. And I almost felt like my left side, like you unzipped it and my left side opened up. And I had never felt this before. And I could feel all of like the divine just blessings flowing into me. And so, no, I love working with you. I always learn something new from you too, Erica. Oh, to work with you. Thank you. Yes, yes. Thank you. So no, this is the team. This is us together. This is the Angel Wellness Center, and this is 1.0. I know it's going to grow, and you might be listening to this podcast, watching us on YouTube, and say, you know what? I know I'm supposed to be a part of this. We're going to be taking people who go through both the Angel Reiki School and the Angel membership, because what happens is the Angel membership is everything that I teach, that spirit comes through and channels through me. Everything that I talk about in my sessions that I've ever talked about, everything that I know is boiled into either the angel membership that walks you through a whole year of unlocking yourself, awakening to your own journey here as a soul. The next step, though, after that is really the Angel Reiki School. And some people like to pause in the Angel membership and then just dive into the Angel Reiki School and go back to the Angel membership. However, you want to flow through that is totally okay. The Angel Reiki School is there to teach you how to open up to your spiritual gifts, how to understand what all of them are, and to give you the skills that you need to be working with other people. Whereas the angel membership walks you through a whole year of you diving within yourself and really understanding your relationship with spirit, really growing your relationship with your angels, and doing a lot of the work for yourself. Because once you go through that, energies. There's so many different energies and vibrations that we don't have names for. And so then as a healer, after you go through the Angel Reiki School, you can dive into sessions and be like, okay, this is what they're talking about. Like, this is what they need you to know, spirit, to the client. And so that's how this works. And I know that this team is going to grow. And I'm just so excited to be in the presence of these beautiful souls that I'm here with today. And I'm just so inspired by you, fueled by you. And I'm just so excited for the rest of the podcast audience to be able to work with you and see all the beauty and love that I've seen over the years come through you. So thank you, everybody. If you want to book a session with somebody on the team, head on over to theangelmedium.com. You can book right away with the team. If you want to book a session with me, we send out an email link once a month with those new dates. For the team, you can go on and you can see what's available and book with them anytime. We'll also send you emails once a month if you sign up for that, our email newsletter, so that you know when new dates with the team become available and you can book those right away. Because I know that once people get to know you, your sessions are going to be booked up. And I'm just so excited for that to happen for you as well. Everybody, I love you. Team, thank you for being here. Open up your heart to all the unexpected blessings that are coming your way. Mwah.